If you have ADHD, you're probably always looking for mental hacks, things that can help you with productivity and just helping your memory and that sort of thing. However, what I've realized is there's a huge connection between your body and your mind. I have personally been going on a big health and wellness journey for myself, and a lot of it have been actually impacting my ADHD. I've actually been on a health journey for other reasons besides ADHD, but I find that a lot of the tools that I use for my health and wellness actually have positive benefits for my ADHD. So I thought I would share with you guys 14 of my favorites that I think are pretty easy to do, and I actually see the benefits over time. I wanted to share with you guys some of those. I am hoping to do more videos on the concept of health and wellness because it's very, very interesting to me, and I see so many connections between productivity, ADHD, and wellness. So let's just get to it, and I'll show you guys exactly what I do on a daily, usually basis, or sometimes weekly or monthly basis with my health and wellness tips. Okay, so my first tip is number one, getting a vibration plate. Now you might be thinking, Jenna, what is a vibration plate and why does it help my ADHD? So a vibration plate is something that you stand on and it vibrates. That's basically what it is. What it does is it actually helps your lymphatic system with your lymphatic drainage. So if you've ever done like a lymphatic drainage massage, you've ever been on a trampoline, that really helps kind of shake some of the toxins out of your body. So you stand on this for about 10 minutes. You can do different exercises. It also helps wake you up so much. I have found that afterwards I get like really energized from it. So if you're kind of having like a day where you just can't focus, just go stand on your vibration plate. The one that I got is a little over $100. So it is a little bit of an investment, but it's a lot cheaper than some of them that are like $300-400. I'm like, no thanks. So I highly recommend checking out a vibration plate. I'm hoping to do a full video on mine and how I use it, but I think that's a really great, easy way to get energized when you're really feeling low and kind of distracted. Okay, number two is switching away from caffeine to herbal tea. Now, this is going to be a controversial statement. Some people are like, nope, give me coffee. Totally get that. However, I recently did some health testing and found out that my cortisol is really out of whack. So because of that, and because of some of the other things I found about my body, I've decided to go caffeine free, which means that I have to find something else to substitute. I was mostly drinking chai tea lattes. I'm not a big coffee drinker myself, so I switched to herbal teas. So I use a combo of spearmint tea, I also use dandelion tea. I just started drinking Tulsi tea with ginger. Basically a bunch of different types of teas that are good for me. And so in the morning, instead of drinking my chai, I will now drink one of those caffeine-free teas. I've just found personally that I haven't been needing to have caffeine the first thing I do when I wake up, which has been helping me focus. And again, some people are going to be like, caffeine works for me, totally fine. But you know, if you're thinking about going off caffeine, obviously do some research on that. I haven't had to wean too much off of it, but just something to think about if that's maybe affecting you more than you'd like to admit. Okay, so walking 10,000 steps every single day. So I started a challenge in April 1st of this year to walk 10,000 steps every day. And for the most part, I have done so. I am so freaking proud of myself for doing this because it has really changed my life in terms of like, all I have to think about, this is just the mindset switch I did, was instead of saying, oh, I have to hit 10,000 steps a day, I think I have to walk for 90 minutes a day because that's about how long it takes to hit 10,000 steps. So I started doing this in April when it was still kind of cold out. So I did a lot of indoor walking. I found a local place that has an indoor track. I also have a treadmill, so I use that, or I'll walk outside. Those are kind of my three options. So I highly recommend checking out doing that challenge or really doing the other thing. The other thing I do, and I have it right here, I actually have my Apple Watch around my ankle, which actually helps with the treadmill. And if I'm just like walking around the house, it accurately tracks my steps. So I bought a little band that I go around my ankle. So for me, having an Apple Watch is mandatory for this because I need to track my steps. Otherwise I have to be carrying my phone all the time, which I don't always like to do. Number four, I mentioned before with cortisol, I found out that I'm going through something called adrenal fatigue, which basically means my cortisol isn't working very well and I'm overly stressed. So what have I been doing? Obviously the things that I probably should be doing, which is like meditation and yoga, haven't been doing that as much, but I have been really focused on trying to breathe and just not be as stressed out. Really focusing on different mindset tools to make sure that I'm not constantly in panic mode Also, a few different things I've been taking. Ashwagandha, I got a tincture of that and I put it inside some beet juice that I drink every day. I got this, it was from Whole Foods. It was beet, turmeric, and ginger, and I mixed that in with some ashwagandha, and it's very, very good. And that's what I drink to kind of help calm me down. Also CBD oil, I take some CBD gummies to kind of like lower my stress. So there might be some things that you can take orally. There's some things that you can do with your exercise to kind of lower stress. I don't know about you with ADHD, but I'm constantly like anxious, and that's just always been my go-to. And now finding out that hormonally it's affecting me has been a really big wake-up call to focus on my stress. Okay, number 5 is a weighted blanket. I got a weighted blanket last year. I mostly only use this in the winter because otherwise it gets a little too hot for me. So I haven't been using it this summer, but it is helpful if you're stressed and you can't sleep to use a weighted blanket. Something that I just would look into, and if it works for you, I've heard it works really well for a lot of ADHDers who can't they like the pressure of feeling of the weighted blanket. So they're less than 30 bucks usually on Amazon, so you can find something based off of your weight, find what works for you. Okay, this is a big one that I have found out even more about in the last couple months, and that are saunas and ice baths, and more focused on the saunas. Saunas are so good for detoxification. We tend to build up a lot of toxins in our body, and saunas allow us to sweat them out. I found out, and I'll talk about this in a second, that I have a gene mutation that allows my detoxification to not work as well. So I'm hoping that, especially in the fall and winter seasons, I'm gonna be going to the sauna a lot more often. Saunas have been popping up everywhere, and I highly recommend, if you've never been to one, to check it out. But make sure that you shower afterwards to get all the stuff off your skin that comes out of your body. So I go to a place also that has an ice bath, so you can go back and forth. It really wakes you up and really gets your system going. So if you can find a place that has both, that's super cool. Also, I've started doing some Epsom salt baths in my house, as well as some Dead Sea salt baths, which help more my skin. So I've been really focused on skin stuff lately, and so I've been just finding a lot of different hacks and tools, and that's one that I've started incorporating into my life every week, is taking a bath. Okay, this is a big one for me. I have started changing my diet. The biggest thing I've changed is I've decided to go gluten-free. Again, I'm working on skin issues, but also gluten can be very inflammatory for a lot of things. I know a lot of people with ADHD also are doing a lot of diet changes. So what I found actually is that going gluten-free is not as hard as I had expected. My brother's been gluten-free since high school, and when he was diagnosed celiac, it was very, very, very hard for him to find, restaurants and things at the grocery store. And that has changed so much. There are so many more gluten-free options. And it allows me to eat healthier, because there's times where I just have to say no to things. And from a health and weight loss perspective, it's been really great too, because it's like, oh, I'm at a birthday party, they've got a bunch of cookies, I'm not gonna eat them because they're not gluten-free. So I've really put limits on myself. I've also recently, just this week, decided to go peanut-free, because I feel like I have issues with peanuts. So I've just decided not to eat peanuts anymore and test that out. So again, I'm doing a lot of deep research into what makes me inflamed and really focusing on gut and liver health. So I'm just trying a lot of different diets to figure out what works for me, doing some that are just elimination right now. This is probably my biggest tip, and that is to get testing done. If you think something's off in your body, try to figure it out. I'm going to a naturopath doctor right now, and she's helping me with both supplements, but also figuring out different testing. So I got hormone tests, I got the Dutch test, which tests all the things from your testosterone levels, progesterone, estrogen, etc., cortisol. Basically, it tests you over a 24-hour period and shows how well everything's working. And mine was a little bit off, so I'm working on some of those things. But I also recently did some genetic testing. I want to do a very deep in detail video about this, and I'm working on finding some guests to come on the channel to talk about it. But I found out that I have something called the MTHFR, which actually a lot of ADHDers have and don't know. So what I would recommend doing is getting a DNA test, like an ancestry test or 23andMe test, and uploading it to either Genetic Genie, which is a free site, or one that I really like called Genetic Life Hacks, which is about $10 a month, but you can cancel it right away. And it gives you a lot of information about your genetics. Now, not everything that it says is like accurate, but this is more of what you're predisposed to. Specifically for me, finding out that I had the MTHFR gene means that I'm only at about 10% of what everyone else can digest when it comes to things like folic acid. So I had no idea that I was basically poisoning myself my whole life, and it's been building inside of me all these things that I haven't been able to absorb. So I'm like, oh my gosh, knowledge is power. And I found out there's a huge connection between MTHFR and the neurodivergent community. So if you're watching this video, please just get a DNA test. There's a ton of sites. I actually have a link below to an MTHFR guide that lists all the different places where you can buy tests, as well as some of my favorite links and tools. So that has been something I've been working on for months and months. So I hope that that is helpful for you guys. Okay, so number 9 is getting more sunlight. If you live in a nice warm place, this is probably going to be easy for you. Just go outside for 10 to 20 minutes a day. There are some great apps out there like D-Minder that tells you when you should go out to get vitamin D. Vitamin D is a huge factor for your mental health. If you're not getting enough, like I live in Minnesota, I make sure to supplement with vitamin D3. I also do one that has K2 in it. Getting enough vitamin D is probably, like, everyone is pretty much vitamin D deficient. And I think it has a huge impact on our mental health, on our physical health. And so I really started looking into a lot of vitamin D information. So if you're not getting enough vitamin D, please look into that, because I think it could be affecting you, especially if you're having some mental health issues with ADHD. Vitamin D deficiency might be an actual issue. So make sure to go look into that and get some testing done. So this is a favorite one, and you may have heard of this company on like podcasts and stuff, but it's called LMNT. It is a electrolyte supplement that you can put into your water. It gives you a ton of different nutrients, including sodium, potassium, and magnesium, which are really important for you. You can also make it yourself. They have recipes on their website, but I buy the big pack of the watermelon brand. It is not cheap. It's about $45 for about 30 sticks, but I have it almost every day, so it's very important for me. It's really healthy. It doesn't have too much sugar, and it's really yummy, so that's why I like it too. So if you haven't looked into LMNT, highly recommend checking it out. It really helps with like brain fog and mental clarity. And being hydrated is just so important. A lot of people, if they're having a bad mental health day, I always think, have they been hydrated? Are they drinking enough water? Because that is actually a huge factor in how your mental health is working. Okay, number 11 is I just got an air purifier. This is just something I never thought about getting before, but one of the things that you might not realize is that your house is probably full of a bunch of toxic things that are just sometimes making you sick and just impacting your health. So I put one in my bedroom, and it helps, like, you know, decrease inflammation. It helps with a lot of different things that might be flying around your house. So I got one for under $50 on Amazon, so it might be something to look into if you're struggling with like allergies or things, getting an air purifier system. Okay, another thing that I did recently was I got a new water filter system. Really didn't like the water that was in my house, so I got a reverse osmosis, so I actually have really clean drinking water, and I got a new water softener that I was going through so much salt, you guys, it was crazy. I was literally going to Home Depot like every month getting more salt because it would just suck it in, and now I haven't replaced the salt in like 2 months because it uses so little of it, which is awesome. So water filter systems are super good for you because sometimes contaminants can affect your body. So if you are living in an apartment and you can't change your water filter, making sure that you're drinking good water and not like tap water, making sure that you're, you know, I always just went to fill it up at the grocery store. That's what I did for a long time. I'm not a big fan of like the Brita filters. I don't think they actually filter things out. So I actually just go and buy clean water and bring it to my house if you don't have another option. Okay, so 13 is yoga and fitness. I think fitness is so important. Sweating it out, cardio, going on bike rides, doing yoga, just getting active can really help with your focus. It can help with your mental health, your mood. Plus, like, it's social. Like, I started playing pickleball recently, so I'm able to like be, you know, working out, getting some steps in, and I am able to meet people. So I think that working on your fitness, obviously diet is much more of a bigger factor for like weight loss, but I think that like health and fitness is so important for all of us just to stay active. All right, the final one, this is probably the most important one for most people, and that's getting enough sleep. Making sure that you are having a consistent bedtime. I have had troubles like waking up in the middle of the night, which I'm like, oh, that's probably my cortisol. Whether it's taking magnesium before you go to bed, you know, just making sure that the room is dark enough, it's cool enough in your room, not to have distractions like your phone. Just making sure that your sleep is good, because if you wake up and you're tired, it's gonna affect your whole day and you're not gonna get a lot of things done. Those are my 14 tips. I have more, I know I do, but I want to do more content like this because I have found so many great hacks, and it wasn't specifically focused on ADHD, but I'm finding that they are helping my ADHD. So I just wanted to share that with you today. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I've talked about that you want me to go deeper into, because I definitely will. I do want to do specifically videos on MTHFR, which is the gene mutation I have, as well as my vibration plate. So I want to do two videos on that, but I thought I would start with this video to kind of share with you guys the importance of those things. So anyways, hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.